guys, happy Monday. Thank God. Love Mondays, love the weekdays, hate the weekends. And it's gonna be a really, really long Christmas, New Year's, and oh Jesus God, I wish Gryla was real. Alright, anyway, so the mystery and origins and history of the strange Icelandic Yule Lads and Gryla. So, alright, there is a reference to Gryla and Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, from Netflix, and that is Midwinter's Tale, where Gryla and the Yule Lads, the Yule log goes out, her Yule Lads, her children, 13 of them, wreak havoc on the Spellmans, but then we have something different. So, there's a little history. It's fun. Alright, so, it's really interesting. I mean, all this, I've seen so much stuff. I mean, just so much stuff on Gryla, and I love it. It's amazing. And then Krampus. So we all know Krampus here. But Gryla, she is very kind of buried. So, alright, so one of the things that makes Christmas in Iceland very different from most other Western countries is the absence of a Santa Claus. In his place, we have 13 Yule Lads. I love it. So the Yule Lads appear in old stories and folktales. Historically, the Yule Lads and the other Christmas spirits were far meaner and more evil. But beginning in the 18th century, and then especially during the 19th century, they became more gentle. So, alright, now in 18th century royal decree about religious practice and domestic discipline, parents were banned from disciplining their children by scaring them with horror stories of monsters like Yule Lads. So, yeah, basically they were made more gentle by the radio, literally the radio, and urban whatever life. So the Yule Lads maintain their old habits of mischief and petty theft, kind of like fairy folk, but not quite. But their appearance changed. Old stories described monsters with little resemblance to humans, but by the 19th century they had assumed a human form. When wealthy merchants began hosting public Christmas tree balls at the end of the 19th century, the Yule Lads had become friendly old men who brought treats. So, the kinder Yule Lads first appeared in towns and villages, while their evil characteristics survived longer in the countryside. So, however, their transformation had been completed by the 1930s, when the Yule Lads began making regular visits to schools and making appearances in the radio to tell children's stories and sing Christmas songs. Wow, so it really did change a lot. So it went from 82 evil spirits to 13 friendly lads. Wow. That is really, really strange. I don't know how it went from 82 evil spirits to 13 friendly lads. So originally the number of the Yule Lads varied, and there are as many as 82 different lads and trolls. So in the 1860s, as the stories of the lads are being collected, their numbers, names, and characteristics are being standardized. So at the same time, their numbers shrink to 13, corresponding to the 13 days of Christmas. I thought it was 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of Yule. Wow. Alright, so today the Yule Lads dress in traditional Icelandic peasant wear, but for the most part, most of the 20th century, the lads wore all red, like the American Santa Claus. So the reintroduction of traditional dress was made by the Icelandic National Museum in the 1980s. Now in 1988, the museum began inviting children from somewhere, I'm not even Reykjavik schools and preschools to the museum in December to learn about history and meet the Yule Lads. And of course, the museum lads wore traditional clothing rather than imported Santa Claus costume. So the darker winter spirits. So the Yule Lads are an example of spirits of nature, which take over during the winter. People treat indoor, outlying mountain and heath cabins this is really used during the summer, and honed in the something, I don't know. Wow, it's not even, you can't even read it. It's really literally unlegible. Alright, so one by one the Yule Lads then came down from the mountains until the entire crowd of trolls has descended upon the farms and the towns on Christmas Eve. So nature and its uncontrollable spirits have reclaimed the land. Then, one by one, they retreat back to the mountain, just as darkness retreats and the days get longer. I love it. I love it. The best kind of story. The characteristics of the Yule Lads, which appear in names like Sausage Swiper, Meat Hook, Skyer Gobbler, offer another hint to their origin, as reminders that people must take care of scarce foods during winter. Sausages, smoked legs of lamb, skyer, and milk can disappear mysteriously if they aren't kept under close surveillance. Now we have meeting the mother, a child-eating husband murdering ogress, who is Gryla. So the Yule Lad's mother is the ogress Gryla. Gryla is one of the oldest mythical characters in Icelandic folklore. She is mentioned in 13th century manuscripts, and we can also find Gryla in the Faroe Islands and closely related Org in Ireland. So she is closely related to the fear of hunger. She is always hungry, and she threatens to snatch away children using the naughty, usually the naughty ones. Right, so in Sabrina we have, she just came for any child. I mean, just any child that didn't have a home. She didn't like people, like kids being abused. So really it was a different role in Sabrina that Gryla had. It was more of a protectress. She did away with that demon, and obviously she returned the Susie, or Theo, the trans one. I love her. Him. Yeah, back to her dad, so making sure that she had, family to go to, and if she didn't, then Gryla was going to take her too. But that's just totally different from this. So, as the Yule Lads became gentler, Gryla remained evil, keeping the old tradition of evil Christmas spirits alive. So in old stories, she has many heads, eyes in the back of her head, bearded fangs, a tail, and hooves, an actual monster. So, alright, now Gryla, the mother of the Yule Lads, murdered her first two husbands. She also ate the first, and she still eats naughty children. So Gryla is accompanied by two other evil creatures. The lesser known is her husband, the troll, Lepaludi. So Gryla is a domineering woman. She is often shown beating and berating her husband, according to the legend. Lepaludi is the third of Gryla's husbands. She killed and ate her first husband, Gustor, her second husband, Boli, whom she also murdered. After the two had a large number of troll children, the Yule Lads are the children of Lepaludi and Gryla. So, it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Alright, here, can I actually get to this? Alright, so in some stories, both Gryla and her husband have perished from hunger because there are no naughty children anymore. Finally, in the murderous Christmas cat, Gryla's other companion is much better known, the Christmas cat. So the origins of the Christmas cat are more mysterious than Gryla, the Yule Lads, all of whom are clearly traditional trolls or mythical spirits living in mountains and uninhabited areas. So the earliest written records of the Christmas cat dates back to the 19th century, but seems to be closely related to Scandinavian beliefs. In the Christmas goat. I like that, the Christmas goat. I like goats. I'm obsessed with goats right now. So according to the story, the Christmas cat will snatch and eat children who don't get new clothing for Christmas. This belief is probably connected to the tradition of everyone getting new pieces of clothing for the holidays, and the custom of farmers giving their farmhands new clothes each year. So the Christmas cat might also be connected to the pressure to finish all weaving and knitting before the holidays. So that's pretty interesting. Some pretty interesting stuff on Gryla there. Totally different from what we see in Sabrina, obviously. Gryla and Lepaludi, maybe it's Lepaludi? Lepaludi is carrying the Christmas cat, which will swell to giant proportions to devour children who don't get new clothes for Christmas. Huh. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, that's really, really interesting. The Yule Lads, I think, are pretty amazing. I really like those Yule Lads. Okay, now we have the story of the Yule Lads, including Window Peeper, Pepper Peeper, Spoon Licker, and Skyer Gobbler. Alright, so we have a lot. Alright, now, once there were as many as 82 different Yule Lads, as we know, but as the stories and the myths were being collected by, ethnographer Joan Arneson, their numbers, names, and characteristics were standardized, and gradually the public settled on 13 Yule Lads. So, these stories were then distilled even further in 1932 when the poet Jonas Kutlam wrote his Yule Lad poem. So the poem is still recited in schools in December, and many Icelanders know all the verses by heart. The English translation is by Hallberg Hallmundsen. So, sheepcoat clod. Sheep, I don't know, this is weird. Stekjastor, sheepcoat clod. The first of them was a sheepcoat clod. He came stiff as wood to prey upon the farmer's sheep. As far as he could, he wist to suck the ewes, but it was no accident. He couldn't. He had stiff knees. Not too convenient. So now we have Gilliger, the Gullygawk. What the hell? Alright, the second was Gullygawk, gray his head and mien. He snuck into the cow barn from his craggy ravine. Hiding in the stalls, he would steal the milk while the milkmaid gave the cowherd a meaningful smile. Now we have Stubby. Stubby was the third, called a stunted little man, who watched for every chance to whisk off a pan and scurrying away with it. He scraped off the bits that stuck to the bottom and brims, his favorites. Oh, that reminds me of Chewy. Chewy Bravo. He died today, 63. That's so sad. That was Chelsea Handlers on Chelsea lately. A little sidekick, that little nugget. That is so sad. Alright, now we have Vorusleikir, Spoon Licker. The fourth was Spoon Licker. So, like Spindle, he was thin. He felt himself in clover. When the cook wasn't in, then stepping up, he grabbed the stirring spoon with glee, holding it with both hands, for it was slippery. Now we have Potaskeffel, pot scraper. Okay, so pot scraper, the fifth one, was a funny sort of chap. When kids were given scrapings, he'd come to the door and tap, and they would rush to see if there was really a guest. Then he hurried to the pot and had a scraping fest. Alright, now we have Askaslikir, bowl licker. Or do we have window licker too? So bowl licker, the sixth one, was shockingly ill-bred from underneath the bedsteads. He snuck his ugly head, and when the bowls were left to be licked by a dog or a cat, he snatched them for himself. He was sure good at that. Don't you dare take my dog. Alright, now we have the Hurra-Askiler, door slammer. So the seventh was the door slammer, a sorry, vulgar chap. Ooh, I like it, if he's vulgar. When people in the twilight would take a little nap, he was happy as a lark with the havoc he could wreak, slamming doors and hearing the hinges on them squeak. I like that. That's cute. Alright, now we have Skur Gobbler. So Skur Gobbler, the eighth, was an awful stupid bloke. Alright, so this is obviously English. Bloke meaning, person, friend. So he lambasted the skyer tub, till the lid on it broke. Then he stood there gobbling. His greed was well known until about to burst. He would bleat, howl, and groan. Then we have the sausage swiper. A sausage swiper. The 9th was sausage swiper. A snifty pilferer. He climbed up from to the rafters and raided food from there, sitting on a crossbeam in soot and smoke. He fed himself on sausage fit for gentlefolk. Now we have the window peeper. The 10th was window peeper, a weird little twit who stepped up to the window and stole a peek through it. Whatever was inside to which his eyes was drawn, he most likely attempted to take later on. That's great. That's great. Now we have the doorway sniffer. Wow. Okay, so 11th was a door sniffer, a dotlish lad and gross. He never got a cold, yet had a huge, sensitive nose. He caught the scent of lace bread, while leagues away still and ran toward it weightless, as wind over dale and hill. Then we have the meat hook. So meat hook, the 12th one, his talent would display as soon as he arrived on St. Thorlok's day. He snagged himself a morsel of meat of any sort, although his hook at times was a tiny bit short. Now we have the candle beggar. The 13th was candle beggar. 'Twas cold, I believe, if he was not the last of the lot on Christmas Eve. He trailered after the little ones who, like happy sprites, ran about the farm with their fine tallow lights. I love it. What do you guys think? I absolutely love it. I love the whole Gryla. Yeah, I totally love the whole Gryla thing. I love this. I love what is going on in this. I think Gryla is pretty interesting. I mean, she is very, very interesting. So that's pretty neat. Do you guys do anything like this? At all? Do you guys believe in Gryla? Are any of you from this, from this era? That's very, very neat. I mean, it is seriously very neat. She is one wicked woman. But I like her. I like her in Sabrina. I don't know why. I just do. I really like her in Sabrina. So she is actually very, very neat. And you can actually spend days with Gryla. You can actually talk to her in Iceland, of course, not here in the United States because we suck. But I mean, that is just really interesting. So, we're mischievous little spirits and fairies and all that. I love that. It is so incredibly neat. Speaking of, yesterday, this is not a djinn, but I'm not surprised if one would actually try to house itself inside of this, but yesterday, I thought this was really neat. So I found this yesterday at our head shop, and it can be worn as a necklace for perfume, and that's what it's for perfume, or your own oils. So if you have like a special blend, you can actually use this. And yeah, that top part doesn't want to come off. There we go. So there's the top part. Now if I was in my 20s, you know what you could use that for. But yeah, so yeah, it's just really neat. It's really neat. So yeah, you can make that into a necklace, and it actually holds oil. I mean, they are so neat. It is so neat. I loved it, so I got it. It was like $2. So, but alright guys, I hope you guys have a great Monday. Enjoy Gryla, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So, I love you all with all my heart, all the way from Venus, all the way back down. There we go. So, I will see you guys tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you all for watching. You guys are amazing. Live chats are amazing. Holy God, wow. So, I will see you guys soon. I love you all.